everybody and welcome to Tips December Day 10. Today we're continuing on the same roll as yesterday and talking about my favorite pair of foundations. Now here I have way more because again they're more matching to my skin tone. And they are from NCNW 05 to NCNW 10. Now, if you didn't catch up on yesterday's video, I'm going to release on New Year's Eve, hopefully if there's no technical complications, my brand new website, which will have all of the foundations here swatched against NC 10 and NW10 from MAC so that you can judge by yourself if that foundation would suit you, and also you'll be able to search the foundation. I think it is by shade family, undertone, and alphabetical order. Yeah, anyways, that being said, let's move on to the foundations. First thing first, Marc Jacobs Genius Gel in 10 Ivory Light. This is what it looks like. Again, very pale, paler than NW10, way paler. I can't really judge in terms of how much I like it because it is more of a summer foundation, mainly because it dries matte and it's from gel to matte, therefore it is quite oil absorbing. So from what I've tried, I really like the shade. Next is Kevyn Aucoin the Sensual Skin Fluid Foundation in SF02. Again, this is way paler than NW10. This is very similar to the Armani Maestro, except that perhaps it's slightly more slippery. I haven't yet figured out a way to make it work with me, mainly because I like my full coverage, but this one has more of a sheer, like a light to medium coverage at best. Therefore, I'm gonna try and work around it. And also the price tag, it's very pricey. Like I had expected to get at least 1 fluid ounce for the price, but you basically get 0.68, which is 20 ml, and that's very little. Next, it was my first high-end foundation purchase. So basically here we're also reviewing a bit of my memories in the foundations. And I haven't worn this in a while, probably I should, but I basically have it for, again, emotional purposes, or not emotional purposes, emotional reasons. But this is the Armani Designer Shaping Cream Foundation in shade 2. Well, I have worn a lot of it and it still smells super good. But again, this is probably NC10 or NCNW10, maybe a hair lighter, but I absolutely love it. It's like, it's my precious. It doesn't really set that well, therefore that's why I don't use it that much, because if you happen to hit your face with something, it might stick a bit, like you might get residue. Therefore I'm more into the Dior Star because it really sets and doesn't move. This is, let's say, old-fashioned luxury. It's not the super tech high science whatnot gimmick foundation that you might have nowadays. This is more of old school luxury, probably targeted at more mature women, but nevertheless I wanted to try it and I got it. Next is the MSC Chic in Porcelain Zero, a Finnish brand. It is very pale. Again, it has some swirls of a more darker shade against white, but when mixed it results in a very pale shade. It has a beautiful glow. It's a baked mineral foundation. Again, I don't use mineral foundations nor foundation powders on their own. I hate the finish of it. I hate the look of it, but I really love setting my liquids or cream foundations with this because it adds extra coverage and I feel like my foundation lasts longer. Next, this was purchased when I had an XSK2 kick. In case you didn't know that about me, I tend to have kicks. Like right now I'm into Alterna hair care. I don't know why, probably because I love the product, but like I bought a hair conditioner and a shampoo from Alterna and I'm absolutely loving, so therefore I'm in a kick to get everything that I can. Same thing happened with SK2 some years ago, and then it ended like at this. I haven't really purchased anything more from SK2, the kick went away. But this is the Cellumination foundation, which probably I've talked about it before, in the shade 3110. And this is what is left, and this is what it looks like. This is more of an NC10. You might be able to push it up to an like NC8 or NC9. But nevertheless, it's a gorgeous foundation, like gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It has beautiful coverage. It doesn't cake, it doesn't melt away if you have oily skin. So I definitely recommend that one. Next, from Chantecaille, Future Skin Oil-Free Gel Foundation in Porcelain. This is what it looks like. It's, I would say, an NC08 to 10, more like it. Coverage-wise, it is more on the sheerer side, therefore I don't use it that much. Probably I should, maybe, because, you know, normally I need to experiment with foundations, and when I find something that I really, really like, I tend to stick to it, and I know that I should get out of my comfort zone more often, especially that I have a lot of foundations. I should be experimenting more and trying different combinations. So, hopefully in my new website, I'll have some kind of section where you can see my experiments with foundations. Next is the classic, the ultra classic MAC full coverage foundation in W10. Do I use this all over my face? No, except if I want a really, really dramatic foundation, I will not use this all over my face. It's not the look that I like, it's not the coverage that I like. Well, the coverage, that's not the problem, but it is, up to a point, it is cakey. Like, let's face facts, this is a high pigment foundation. I use this more on concealer or on certain areas that my foundation hasn't covered. I will go over with that, but otherwise that's about it. And by the way, this is the same formulation as the Studio Fix concealer. So if you hate the Studio Fix concealer, you might probably hate this one. But if you want to save money on the Studio Fix concealer, the one that comes in a pot, the really high coverage, then get this one, because basically it's the same thing, except it's bigger and more bang for your buck, I guess, because it's cheaper for the amount. Next is, again, another one that you probably heard me talk about. It is the Laura Mercier Mineral Powder, which they don't say foundation, but it's a mineral powder foundation in soft porcelain. This is like an NC10, I would say, but the fact is that if you buff it properly, it lightens. So that's what I like about it. You can barely see it. But yeah, if you buff it properly and don't over apply, it can be an NC8 to 10, somewhere there. Next is the CoverDerm Classic Concealing Foundation in shade 1. Whoops. Again, this is more of a grayish undertone, and it is more on the NCNW10. Yeah, Muffy! 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 Mom! Yeah, whatever. I'm not sure if you can see him. He's there. So cute. He's being sweet now. I know. Anyways, this is very, very high coverage. I'm sorry. Ah, that hurts. But unlike the MAC Full Coverage Foundation, this is more blendable and it looks more natural if you buff it in the skin, whereas the MAC Full Coverage, it is very hard to make it look natural. Like, you really have to work a lot. So yeah, but the problem is that this might be just a hair darker than the MAC, and it has a sort of grayish undertone, so it might not be something that many people like. Next, the Kogendo Moisture Foundation 001. This is paler than NW10, but again, it has such a low coverage that I don't really see it being any problem. Anyone across the spectrum could use this. I should again experiment with this one, so I'll probably make a review whenever I have found a way to use it properly. Then the Armani Lasting Silk UV Foundation in shade 2. This is an NC10, probably a hair lighter. It has very good coverage. It lasts very long. It sets, not completely, but it does set. Next, MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NW10. I have to smell it. Oh gosh, this smells amazing. I don't know what it is with it, but I absolutely love the smell. Anyways, this is very good if you like a lot of coverage, if you like a natural matte finish, and if you want a like sort of flawless skin, this is your best bet. Unfortunately, this being a liquid oxidizes a little bit, therefore it won't appear as light. Muffy! It won't appear as light as the MAC Full Coverage Foundation. Next is the Sekisei Supreme Whitening Liquid Foundation in BO300. This is NC08, I would say, because it is a bit lighter than NC10. It has full coverage, but it can be very moody, and you have to be careful to not sweat or have very oily skin because it can break down, unfortunately, although it is a beautiful, beautiful foundation. Next is the Kevin Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer SX01. I don't like this one for my face. I feel like I'm rubbing Vaseline with color, but I do like it as a concealer, therefore that's why it's included. Next is the NARS Firming Foundation in Siberia. This is discontinued, so you probably can get it anywhere. But I had a bottle and I have to include it. Again, I haven't worn this as much as I would like to, so probably I should start wearing it again. But it is a beautiful foundation. Next, Pupa Ultra Comfort Foundation in shade 11. You probably have heard me talk about it. This is lighter than NW10, way lighter. I really love it, but I'm not using that much because I've heard the shade is discontinued, so yeah. Next is the CoverDerm Perfect Face. This is a bit like this one, except this comes in a tube formula and it is easier to blend. This is the shade 1. It is a bit paler than NC10. Let me see if I can show you. There's the swatch. I particularly love it, especially in like thin layers. It's very beautiful. It can look amazingly natural. Finally, we're reaching conclusion. I feel a little bit sad that it's soon over, but anyways, is the MAC Studio Fix powder in NW10. This is what it looks like. Again, I don't wear these powders by their own, but I usually like to set foundations with it. And if you have very oily skin or you really need your foundation to last long because you're having a photo shoot or you're going out, or I don't know, you're working the whole day in a very hot environment and you have oily skin on top of all, then this with this paired together and you will have a lasting coverage, full coverage, not thick feeling, not mask feeling, and at the same time your skin won't get as oily. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this series. Let me know in the comments down below your favorite foundations in the NWNC 05 to 10 range. I would love to, if there is any foundation that I haven't tried yet, I would love to hear about it, because I'm all about trying and evolving from my current foundations, figuring out new stuff, figuring out new formulations, new finishes and whatnot. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to check my blog. I know that I've been quite absent with it and not really keeping up to it, mainly because one, I find it a bit sort of impractical, the layout that I'm having right now. It's a bit complicated, and two, I don't really like the program to edit my blog posts. Therefore, I hope that I'll be able to come out with something that's way quicker and much easier for me to process, because again, I'm not doing YouTube or blogging as my job. This is just a hobby and I like to do things very efficiently, otherwise I tend to procrastinate. Anyways, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye bye.